Hey guys, it's Parker here, back at part 2 of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. For a start, I didn't fire the gun. We have a difference of opinion on that. The opinion of a uniformed officer versus that of a fudging cater. I don't think so. Consider this, defendant. Just a moment ago, I blinked. Did you? Did you see it? Did you see me blink? How could I? And yet, it is an undeniable fact that I did blink. So there you have it. Have what? Tension! The sound of a firearm rang in my ears in the very next moment. I saw you aiming the gun at the Englishman. I think that sees it all, don't you? Grr. But he didn't see the moment of the crime.
Yes!
I clearly remember there was a woman sitting across the table from the professor. Perhaps one of you might not have noticed, but for both of you to have failed to see a professor's dining companion is just not possible. Unfortunately for you, Defendant Naruto, it's not just the case of those two witnesses alone. Sorry? The waiter, whose testimony the court heard earlier, clearly stated the same thing. He also said that the victim was alone. That's right. Precisely, in other words, you are the sole proponent of this phantom lady. But if such a woman were indeed present at the scene, the prosecution demands to see proof. And if no such proof exists, the prosecution demands that no further mention of this phantom woman be made. It's a blatant waste of the court's time. Excellent work, Inosuke. We gleaned some new information now. Well, yes, but I don't feel like, it changed much. I can't see that it brings any real discrepancies to light. I wouldn't be so sure. Let me see that medical report card you got before. Oh, you mean this? You know, what did the medical report card say? Like the doctor can't eat like fatty foods or something? Yes, this brand new piece of evidence. So perhaps we should examine it a little more detail. How exactly? Just freaking read it, dude. Examine it. Alright, tutorial guy, we got this. Why don't we flip this over and see the report? Let's have a look. This is some kind of medical history. And just an entry for the day the professor was killed. Extraction and Baller with topical anesthesia. Extraction and Baller? You mean he had a tooth taken out? It would seem so. Just before the incident, he'd had a bad tooth removed. Perhaps they use laughing gas. That's the most modern practice in the West for pain relief. Yes, I've heard of this anesthesia. Although it's hard to believe that there's anything that can actually stop you feeling pain. Just a cautionary note for the medical practitioner as well. Strictly no food or drink besides water for 3 hours post-procedure until anesthetic effects have passed. So he couldn't have eaten that steak. Really? Sounds like information worth bearing in mind. Alright, let's freaking use this. With this new information, the meaning of the one particular statement totally changes. So I think it's time to listen to testimony again, don't you? Definitely. Alright, let's go.
Yes!
Well, I think, but what are you wittering, lad? Call yourself a lawyer? I wish I could, but first and foremost, I'm the accused. Ryunosuke. Everyone stumbles at words occasionally. Under the circumstances, I wouldn't worry about it. Thanks, Kazuma. It's fine. Everyone stutters. I could see it quite clearly in that cross-examination you just carried out. When you raised your hand straight up like that so purposefully, you knew exactly what it was you wanted to say. Don't feel like you have to choose your words carefully. Just say what you're thinking. Alright, and thanks for the advice. Korekuto-san, this is a medical report card belonging to the victim. Ah, I see, and I don't see. What of it, boy? Comparing what is written on this report card with your witness statement, something clearly doesn't add up. Have you forgotten my words so soon, you amateur? Sorry, what? You are not to interrupt court proceedings, you're amateurist rival. But, let's see if I can explain in words you might understand. It was after 2 p.m. in the afternoon when the victim was murdered at the restaurant. Whatever he may or may not done before that time is completely irrelevant. It isn't. He couldn't eat for 3 hours, dude. Just make your point. This medical report card has nothing to do with the case. Do you really believe that? What? That outburst how petrified me, boy. Of course I believe it. How could it possibly be relevant? Perhaps because Hoda Clinic, which issued the report card, is a dental clinic. A dental clinic? Is that supposed to mean something to me? Did you not read the card? Perhaps if I told you that the victim had just had a tooth extracted? What's this now? And furthermore, if I told you that as a result, the victim had been forbidden from eating. Just what are you trying to say, Kaden? He had orders not to eat, so what? For 3 hours. It's all written up in here. No food or drink other than water for 3 hours. Post-procedure while anesthesia wears off. What? No, that can't. Kurakuda-san. What, boy? What? As you just heard, when he was killed sometime shortly after 2 p.m., the victim couldn't have been eating anything at all. No. Additionally, there's more. You have assured the court with unwavering self-confidence that the victim was lying alone. But that cannot possibly be the case. Because the victim, as we now know, had just had one of his teeth extracted and was still experiencing the effects of the anesthetic. Expertly done, partner. So y'all were lying. What is this nonsense, you little upstart? These are basic accusations. Just look at this photographic evidence. He couldn't have eaten that steak, dude. Objection. Use your head. That's the very discrepancy we're talking about, or can't you follow the logic? How dare you? I think it's fair to say that the tables in this restaurant case have turned. Wouldn't you agree, Yunosuke? Yes! Oh, most definitely! So having just undergone some dental surgery, the victim was unable to eat. Which leaves one very crucial conundrum. Who in fact was eating the pictured beefsteak, the Panta woman? The court will hear the opinion of the defense on this new puzzle. I assume you're ready, counsel. Counsel? Oh, that means me, doesn't it? Alright, the answer to the question is beyond prevalent. This is the start of you turning this trial around. Show them what you're made of. Got it. So, the person eating the steak at the victim's table must have been an as yet unknown party. Yes, you're totally eating the steak. Obviously, it can only happen to someone else who was sitting at the professor's table. You will not let this go, will you? There's no such person. Then who the freak was eating it? There was, because I saw her. When the incident occurred, we know that the victim couldn't have been eating anything. Yet we have evidence of a half-eating steak at his table. Therefore, the only logical conclusion is that there was somebody else there eating it. We have strong evidence to support our assertion. It's clear that these witness testimonies are unreliable. If the court decides to push through a ruling at this stage, we will lodge a formal complaint with the Ministry of Justice and pursue a fair retrial relentlessly. Kazuma, are you insane? You would take on the government? Don't worry, counsel. I have no issue with you. What do you mean? I have issue with those two witnesses in the stand. Wow! What are you talking about? We have demonstrated with evidence that the victim was not alone. So, if it now turns out that the two of you deliberately lied when giving your testimonies, obviously, you'll be charged with perjury. Perjury? And, since this is a murder trial, you will also be deemed complicit in the killing. Complicit in murder? No, 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 no! Negative! There was no mention of this at the tactical meeting. I was just following orders. That's right, as the man says. Just say you never saw the gentlewoman. That's what the told us. Oh. What? What did you just say, Korikuda-san? Oh, no. You were just following orders? Now hold on, lad. I was, say you never saw the gentlewoman. When you say gentlewoman, do you mean you saw the victim and the lady from overseas? What? What is the meaning of all this? These witnesses gave false statements? Is this true, you pair? Just one simple slip of the tongue. Order, counsel, explain what is going on here. It's painfully clear now. You try to prevent these witnesses from telling the truth. Absolutely not. The prosecution knows nothing of this. Then who's behind this? You try to keep your mouth shut. Well, that's classified. So you're prepared to be tried as a conspirator to this murder, are you? You wouldn't. This can't be happening. Ryunosuke. Judging from the way they're reacting to this, I say they were sworn to science by someone of considerable influence. However, I don't believe Aochi had any idea about it. What are you saying? I mean, to wield that kind of influence, there are only a handful of possibilities. It could only have been the government, the military, or the police, I suppose. Well, any ideas about who might be behind this? If we can confirm we tried to silence these witnesses, then we can continue our pursuit. So we need to name whoever it was that tried to make the witnesses keep their mouths shut. Of course, we'll need evidence before we make any firm accusations. Evidence that proves whoever it was really did wield his or her power here. But how? How can we possibly... Remember how we made progress before? We examined this piece of evidence in more detail and found a new code as a result. Oh, yes, that's right. Well, that's not the only piece of evidence we have, is it? We need to re-examine everything and make sure there's nothing we missed. There's no time to lose. I want answers. If it's proven that these witnesses have been manipulated, I assure you the penalty will be severe. Please, wait. Your Excellency, I have no idea about any of this. I swear to every Shinto god. I knew nothing. And what does this defense have to say about all this, Well, Your Excellency. No time to think. I'm just going to have to close my eyes and shout out the first name that comes to my head. Besides the prosecution, the only person with the necessary influence to manipulate the witnesses is... I guess Satoru?
Yes!
Well, surely that would be Satoru Hosonaga-san. Hosonaga-san? The waiter who took the stand earlier? Poppycock! What possible reason would the waiter have to make these witnesses give false testimony? Not to mention the fact that even head waiter cannot possibly have that level of influence. For once, I would agree with you. If that is, the man truly were a waiter. What? If he truly were? Come on, Ryunosuke, time to hit this court with the truth. The truth about Satoru Hosonaga-san's real identity, as proven by this evidence. You know, this business card is pretty sketchy, so I'm gonna present this.
Yes!
I'm not sure what this is supposed to prove, Counsel. I think, Your Excellency, that this disproves not the true nature of the waiter, but the true nature of the accused. Sorry? A blackguard who was stooped to presenting irrelevant evidence to incriminate an innocent man. That's the true nature of this rookie. Wag! Oh. Try again. Okay. Alright then, I'll try. Oh, I was supposed to flip the card over. Like it was there. I just had to flip it over. Well, that's unexpected. What is? Look, do you see it says the witness name here? Satoru Hosonaga. Well, yes, business cards do tend to show the person's name. That's sort of the point. It's not the name that's unexpected, it's job title. Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga, Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau. Inspector? What on earth? I have no idea. But let's face it, the police have a lot of power and influence if they're wielding it somewhere here. Alright. Alright, let's freaking present this.
Yes!
Sorry, Excellency, that's the back of the card. It's the back of the card that's of interest. I beg your pardon? Or perhaps I should say the front? Yes, it's the front at the back of the card. That's where the telling detail is. Would somebody please explain what this overexcited student is trying to say? Hosonaga San sketched the plan at the restaurant on the reverse side of his business card. The front of the business card reveals the man in question's profession. His true profession. The waiter's profession, but that's true, surely. Good gracious! That's right, Your Excellency. The card reads, Chief Inspector, Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau. What? The waiter is a police detective? I haven't heard any mention of this before. Why haven't I heard any mention of this before? The Imperial Police Bureau has immense power, absolute power, as far as regular civilians are concerned. So, witnesses there and stand. Was it in fact the waiter who gave you your orders? Was it he who told you not to mention that you seen this foreign, a gentlewoman at the scene? Well... Inspector Hosonaga! I was worried something like this may happen. The moment you asked me to submit my sketch as evidence, I realized it was a possibility. Yes, I remember now. He did act strangely when the judge asked him to hand over his business card. I started to carry out all investigations flawlessly, is my guiding principle, but I let myself be distracted when I made that sketch. It was an unusually careless mistake. So, you mean to say you really are a detective? But why would a detective be working as a restaurant waiter? Ah, of course, I was working undercover. Undercover? Yes, there have been a series of incidents at the restaurant recently. In order to investigate, I decided to get a job there as a waiter, working undercover. Incidents at the restaurant? What kind of incidents? That would be classified police information, which I am not at liberty to divulge. However, I can say categorically that they are unrelated to this case of homicide. Very well then, Inspector Hosonaga, but you elaborate on one point for the court. Of course, Your Excellency. We have just heard new information from the two witnesses beside you. That at the time of shooting, there was in fact another person present at the victim's table. If that is indeed true, clearly you would also have been aware of this person's presence, having served at the table in question. However, your testimony did not allude to this other diner, therefore I am led to assume that in your professional capacity as police officer, you require these witnesses to be in agreement. Would that be correct? Aha! Correct, Your Excellency. Unbelievable! As I suspected. As soon as I heard the gunshot, I ran out of the kitchen to see what happened. The victim sat slumped in his chair. Beside him, gun in hand, stood the accused student. He Sitting opposite the victim at the same table is a young lady who I guess to be an Englishwoman. So the truth comes out. Okay, I'm gonna save. I immediately sealed out the restaurant and reported the incident to the bureau. It was then that I received some special orders. Special orders? You mean to say, remove the Englishman from the scene at once. It was made clear that the Englishman was present at the restaurant was to be concealed. Those were my orders. But what if this Englishman was the killer? I think it would be in everyone's best interest not to pursue that idea. Whoops. The Empire views the friendly terms of its relationship with Britain more highly than anything at the moment. An Englishman has been murdered on our soil. To name an Englishwoman as the primary suspect, well, without irrefutable evidence, that would be completely out of the question. So that's the reason for the disappearance of the panel woman in this case. But it's not right! One possibility does spring to mind. What do you mean, Kazuma? Yumei University is currently hosting a number of exchange students from Great Britain, and I'm very certain that one of them studying in the medical facilities research laboratory is a young Englishwoman. What? You're a shrewd man. I can see why you're the chosen candidate for the overseas study tour. You mean, when I removed the woman from the scene of the crime, I thought it prudent to check her identity first. Then the court demands that you name the lady in question at once, Inspector. The Englishwoman sitting at the university professor's table was a certain Miss Giselle Brett. She is indeed a foreign student studying in the research laboratory of the Yumei University's medical facility. What is happening here? I admit that under orders from the police bureau, I erased all evidence of the lady's presence at the scene, and ordered these witnesses to make no mention of her in their testimonies. It must now be up to Your Excellency to decide how to deal with this situation. Very well, my thoughts on the matter are as follows. Thus far, the case presented in court has been underpinned by a particularly critical premise, namely, that the victim was dining alone. However, as we now have discovered that the premise is false, it will be a discretion of our justice system to ignore the truth and give a ruling at this point. But Your Excellency, that will mean missing the noon deadline of a ruling in order to send the telegraphic report to Great Britain. Our own government will surely be very displeased by such actions. Calm yourself, Consul. I will not allow the government of our country or any order other to influence the proceedings of my courtroom. Inspector Hosonaga. Yes, sir. You will locate this Giselle Brett and escort to the courtroom with the utmost urgency. At once, Your Excellency. But that means that we're going against special orders to give over the police bureau. As I said before, it is my guiding principle to carry out all investigations flawlessly. So it won't be a problem? Nothing will get in my way. He's such a bro. Court will adjourn briefly. The prosecution must call the English student Giselle Brett to the witness stand. Do I make myself clear? Yes. Your Excellency! Good. Then we have a 30-minute recess before reconvening. To be continued. Well, not right now. I'm actually gonna continue. Excellent work, Reno. That was superb. My heart was in my mouth the entire time. It was almost unbelievable. I mean, looking at you in there. You were drenched in sweat, your eyes popping, your knees knocking, and you were grinding your teeth. It was a grim sight, but before I know it, you started finding inconsistencies in testimonies. I think you might have natural talent for being a lawyer. Forget it, it's terrifying. If I get through this, I don't ever want to see it inside of a courtroom again. Anyway, it looks like we've exposed your pathway at last. Miss Giselle Brett, a student from Great Britain, is she? That's what I was trying to tell everyone just from the start. Dr. Wilson wasn't alone. There was a young woman with him, like I've been saying all along. Yes, you have, haven't you? I might not be overly confident in the courtroom, but my powers of observation are one thing I'm sure of. Yes, I can see that. So, about this young gentlewoman. Thanks to her detective friend, she was hastily escorted away from the scene, it seems. Did you see what happened with that? No, I didn't see any of it. I was just on my way out at the restaurant myself, then on the floor next to Dr. Wilson's table. I noticed there was a gun. Yeah, we know. Man, they really just like replay back everything, don't they? And he bundled me into some sort of small pantry next to the kitchen? What? Fast thinking about a detective, he apprehended his suspect without a moment's delay. Yes, and because I was shut in the pantry, I have no idea what happened outside in the dining area. There you are. Well done, both of you. Professor Mikotoba! Well, it seems I was right. The pair of you make an outstanding team. You've exceeded my expectations, I have to say. Yes, it seems you planned this from the start. You arranged me so I wouldn't be able to act as a lawyer in this trial. Our modern country is still in its infancy, our justice system even more so, which is why I firmly believe that we need to send our brightest young stars overseas to learn all they can. I wanted to avoid a situation that may have resulted in your study tour of Great Britain being cancelled. Well, it makes no difference. Liar or otherwise, if I'm the kind of man who can't help his best friend avert the worst crisis of his life, I shouldn't waste everyone's time by going to study overseas anyway. What? What are you saying, Kazuma? So that's your stance. I was afraid you'd feel that way. Kazuma! Well then, looks like it all comes down to you, young man. To me? Yes, you need prove innocence and undercover what really took place in that restaurant. I must say, I very much want to know the truth. After all, I have a personal connection to this case. Did you know the victim? Yes, I did. As you're probably aware, Dr. John H. Wilson was visiting Professor Yume, and it was I who invited him. Oh, I see. I didn't know that before. Anyway, you're about to go into battle. The victim was a university professor of Great Britain, and a well-known one at that. Okay. Of course. Good luck, Kazuma-sama. Defend Naruhodo! Car races is over! It's time. Let's get back to it, partner. Let's go in there and deal a decisive blow before those old fossils know what's hit them. Okay. Kazuma... What? Thank you. Really? What for? Well, if you hadn't said you believed me, then I'm fairly sure I'd already have been found guilty by now. Look, I have faith in you. As a lawyer and as a friend. Coming from you, that means a lot. If I'm found guilty in this trial... Okay, we know. You can treat me to one of the sukiyaki meals I like from the Yume cafeteria on University Street. With an extra large portion, of course. Sorry. Let the government scrutinize. That's their job. It's nothing to worry about. If the friendship between our nations is really so fragile, then the treaty isn't worth the paper it's written on. You really have nothing to worry about, Ryunosuke.
What do you mean?
A secret trial, anxiety over some foreign government's opinions, a bungled investigation, missing witnesses. Is this what our nation's justice system is? Is this the Supreme Court of Japan or of England?
Shut up, you jumped up, Ricky boy. You and your friend know nothing. Nothing's the situation our nation finds itself in. By aligning ourselves to this great world power, we become strong. Diplomacy has never been more critical.
Okay, Boomer.
Steady political maneuvering is what will secure our futures.
I won't deny that I'm no expert. I'm just a student, and one who could argue study harder too. But standing here now in our Supreme Court, there's one thing that I feel very strongly. A country that fails to uphold the truth in its justice system is a country with no future at all. Well said, Ryunosuke, despite the wide-eyed look of terror.
You little brats!
Thank you, Consul. This court is the pinnacle of our nation's justice system and exists solely for the pursuance of truth. With that in mind, this trial will now resume with the next witness taking the stand. The visiting student for Great Britain, Miss Giselle Brett.
Yes. Yes, Sensei! Wow, what a delight it is to welcome such a fine gentlewoman to Japan from such a distant land.
T, summer break English tea in England, no discussions take place without T. Is that true? No idea. So, ahem! Of course. My name is Satoru Hosonaga. I have been working under...
Yes, we know all about you already.
Inspector Hosonaga, where are your manners? This is English. This is always the ladies first. Is that true? No idea. More importantly, a little earlier today you said something to me. You said your powers of observation are the one thing you're sure of. Oh yes, I think I did, didn't I? Your description for this amazing sight was simply a woman. Sorry, Yunosuke, but powers of observation aside, your powers of description are sorely lacking. Guilty. So, dear lady, once again! What? Excuse me? I'm terribly sorry, dear lady, but what? It's just gibberish. I can't reread that. The lady says her name is Giselle Brett. She comes from London, England. She's a visiting research student currently enrolled in UMaine University's medical facility.
Oh my! What a rare treat to hear the dulcet tones of the delightful language of the British people.
I think you guys like romanticize British people too much.
I'm afraid I don't understand a word you said, but it was as beautiful as the hummingbird song.
As far as I can tell. The detective is translating her words faithfully enough. Yes, I agree. Haha, you obviously do fine in English because her English doesn't rattle you at all, does it? Nor you. You could have been paying attention in your English classes, Yunosuke. The court thanks the beautiful lady for taking the stand. Now... She says yes. This is gonna take some time. So even though she's studying in Japan, she can't speak any Japanese. She's probably faking it. I mean, an exchange student would know the language of the country that she's visiting, right? She'd like to apologize for disappearing from the scene. You're so sus, lady. She sees that she was due to make a presentation at the university, so she had to leave immediately. Interesting, when you're the one who engineered her escape. I was just following special orders from the bureau.
Well now, dear lady, would you be so kind as to cast your eyes over this photographic print?
Apparently, it's a very frightening and sorrowful sight. Do you mean to say... Yes, it would appear the lady did witness the crime. Probably because she did it. The very moment the accused, standing right there in this courtroom, shot the victim in cold blood.
Order in the court! Did you hear that, Your Excellency? Here we have an absolutely conclusive witness statement.
Well, looks like it's clear now. Clear who our real enemy is. Unfortunately, I will have to ask you to formally testify if you please. Kindly tell the court the exact nature of this frightening and sorrowful sight you described. I had arranged to meet for a slightly late luncheon with Dr. Wilson that day. The professor was unable to eat, so I ordered for myself only a beefsteak. After a while, the accused came over to greet the professor, and they got into a first argument. What do you mean, first argument? Then, not long afterwards, the accused took the professor's gun and shot him right before my eyes. The way he picked it up. What do you mean? What are you saying, lady, you liar? I don't carry a gun myself, so obviously it couldn't have been the culprit. What do you mean you don't carry a gun? I wonder if we could examine the gun later.
Yes.
No, I didn't have any kind of argument with the professor at all.
Objection!
Quiet, you filthy wretch! Look at you, you black-hearted blackguard! Look at this snow-white angel! I'm sure even a dark-minded scoundrel like you can imagine whose words the court is gonna believe. You know, I really think you shouldn't judge by appearances here. You're still making the same mistakes, Ryunosuke. You mustn't blurt out when you're goaded like that. That's a lesson you need to learn. Ugh, but he's so annoying. Of course, I was at the scene as well. I took same as this lady and the two witnesses testified before and reported back to the burial. It was decided that Miss Brett was not involved, so I let her go. The testimonies of the last two witnesses are completely worthless, however. Well, even so, on the day in question, the lady was wearing the same outfit as she is today. Did you not shower? As you can see, there's nowhere about a person where she could conceal a firearm. Excuse me, have you seen her hat? She could hide anything in that outfit if she wanted to. Unless and until the precise location where the witnesses still have hidden a gun weapon can be shown, this is moot. Or a freaking swan tail poofy dress or something. There are no pockets in my outfit. I have nowhere to hide a gun. Excuse me, have you seen her hat? Those are the witnesses' own words on the matter. Ark, that's ridiculous. When is allowed to let them adjust and prove it? Don't think about doing anything rash, Ryunosuke. But I didn't fire the gun and picked it. There must have been another gun there that day. You're right about that, which means the lady was hiding a gun somewhere. Yes, and that's what you have to prove now. And to do so, we need to pull our testimony apart. Alright, lady. We're fighting you next.
Yes!
But anyways, I said I did not argue with the professor. Sorry? Miss Brett does not appear to speak Japanese. No, of course not. Japanese is such a cumbersome language anyway, dude. Are you seriously? English is the future. It was all speak English. No, just don't say that anymore. I wonder if the prosecution feel that way forever, or only in the presence of a beautiful woman. Yeah, yeah, you're right, Kazuma. While that beautiful woman is telling blatant lies with a complete straight face, I have to find something that will unravel her testimony, no matter how seemingly insignificant it may be.
Yes!
Well, I wasn't expecting to attack my own side.
Attention!
It seems to me that accusation is just as baseless as ours.
What nonsense.
The lady's merely stating what she saw. Ugh, that smile is so creepy. And this is already an international incident as far as I'm concerned anyway. Are you sure you don't carry a gun? It's all very well saying it, but can you prove it? Absolutely. I've verified it personally. You verified it? Yes, immediately after the incident, I checked to make sure the lady was not carrying a weapon. I distinctly remember saying, I'm not. That's all you did? You just asked her? Surely you carried out a physical search, Inspector? No. Why on earth not? The Honorable English gentleman could state that she does possess a weapon. That doesn't mean she doesn't possess a weapon. What? What is this? Or, there was no permission, for any further investigation?
Think what you will. But if you're going to continue with this preposterous claim that the finally was carrying concealing a firearm, the prosecution demands that you support your assertion with facts.
In other words, he wants evidence. Ugh. The lady wishes to point out that of course she wanted to stay and assist with the investigation, but she was in a hurry to give a presentation at the university, so she was compelled to leave. She's just lying while smiling. So creepy. Not get her out of here, I just urged her to leave. The lady would like to point out that she in no way meant to run away from the scene of the crime. Nah, you ran away. Which is why she's only too happy to cooperate and testify here in court today, of course.
Unlike a certain serious event when the game is up, you can at least have the courtesy to pay attention when I go to you.
Nah. For people like you, it can be ignored. So she's maintaining that you got into an argument with the professor at the end when she shot him. Which is an out and out, a totally unfounded lie. Still, her statement is very compelling. After all, she's an elegant, refined, young and beautiful gentlewoman from Great Britain. In stark contrast to you, just from head to toe in the dull black school uniform. I just exactly the same way as you are, except for the flapping red ribbons that always seems to like a wind. There's always a wind blowing whenever you're on screen, Kazuma. Well, anyways, it's our only chance to expose his testimony as the fiction that is. If we can't do that, the trial's over. Even you, with your thick skin, must be able to feel the murderous looks you're getting from around the room. Only too well, I feel half dead already. And the fact that I can't see a single inconsistency in her testimony doesn't make me feel any better either. Alright, let's press more of this.
Yes!
After 2 p.m, in fact, that's really quite a late lunch, isn't it?
Attention!
Late luncheons are en vogue, isn't that right? I don't think so. No. 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 A decisive English no has quite a sting to it. It's just a no. No. That was so funny. The gentleman is currently working in the victim's research laboratory, it seems. So it's apparently a daily occurrence that they will lunch together. But on the day in question, the victim had another appointment at the clinic first. Yes, we should approve on a medical report card. That's right. Okay.
Yes!
Wait, but was the beefsteak like at the right seat that the lady was sitting in? Or was the steak like switched out? Like, I'm not really sure. I think I'll just look at the picture. Let's look at the picture here. Okay, so why is he sitting in that table and like behind him is the steak? Like, wouldn't they be sitting across from each other? Why is the big steak like behind him? That's weird, isn't it? Yeah, I think that's very strange. Like, why is the big steak behind him? Okay, I think I'll just present that next time. It seems so, yes. She heard that the professor was to have some dental treatment. So that would mean that it was you ate the steak picture here, is that right, Miss Brett? That's right, yes. The print you have there shows the table exactly as it was left after the horrifying events. Exactly as it was left?
Dear me, what a horrifying experience.
Okay. We get it, dude. You sent for her. That's right, under this some carbonated water. Just water? Yes, the professor was able to eat. Dolly's statement is yours, Miss Brett, has a profound bearing on this case. Okay, yes, that statement has meaning, dude. We're gonna add it to the court record.
Yes!
What a frightful place!
It's the lady's opinion. And I've heard it's not customary to eat sashimi in Great Britain. Now that's frightful. Every country has its own cuisine. As long as people have food to eat, what does it matter what it is? True, come to think of it. The first time I tried carbonated water, it was much more of a shock than the first time I tried beef. But anyway, back to this witness's statement. It's strange, isn't it, Ryunosuke? Somehow I feel like there's something out of place in what she's saying. Alright, let's present some evidence.
Yes!
That's it! Let me just confirm something, please. It's to do with this photographic print. Just a short while ago, you spoke of this print showing the victim's table at the crime scene. That it was exactly as it was left. That is correct, the lady says. Well, that is, it's odd, very odd.
Dear me.
Well, obviously, it's the cheers. The cheers? Miss Brett has told us that she and the professor said cheers over a glass of water. But if that's true, then why is there only one glass? There should be two glasses on the table, not one. You're quite right, Consul. There's only one glass pictured here.
Objection!
Are we supposed to be pressed by this nitpicking over a minute to what possible difference does this make?
Objection!
Minitia, maybe you say. Could it be that the detective here removed the glass on the table to conceal the lady's presence? Of course not. I will never do something so reckless. But there should have been two glasses on the table. Or are you going to try to tell me that you can only clink with one? You're quite right. I certainly took two glasses to the table. What happened to the other glass, lady? Inspector, what did the lady say? It was seen that it was Miss Brett who took the glass on the table. Why? It was also terrifying, everything that happened. I panicked and thought I should try to hide the fact that I've been there at all, as she's saying. Why didn't you say that before, huh? Sorry. She's so creepy. There, as I assured the court before, this is of no consequence at all. Oh, please. I am so going to accuse this lady. She's so sus. Exactly how the lady took the glass from the scene. It was seen that she slipped it into a small handbag she was carrying. Well, can we examine this handbag of yours? A handbag, you say? Yes, Your Excellency. A small handheld pouch commonly carried by a well-to-do woman in England. What did she put the gun in her handbag? I want to investigate the handbag. Wait, the lady put the glass in her handbag, you say? Yes, do try to keep up. Okay. Let me see. A little while ago, Miss Brett stated the following. There are no pockets in my outfit. I have nowhere to hide a gun. But what she forgot to mention was her handbag, in which would be perfectly possible to conceal a gun. You're right. Well done, partner. I had a feeling you'd pick up on that too. What are you insinuating, you vile blackguard? It's really very simple. The gunshot was heard when the defendant picked up the gun from the restaurant floor. As he didn't fire the gun, we could deduce there must have been another firearm at the scene. The true murder weapon, if you will. You can't seriously be suggesting... Inspector Hosonaga! Yes? Did you or did you not search Miss Giselle Brett's handbag on the day of the murder? No, sir, I did not. As I thought! In other words, another gun, the one that was actually used to kill the professor, could have been hidden in Miss Brett's handbag. No! Brilliant work, partner. Now I have a chance to expose the real woman behind the mask. Do you think so, Kazuma? Well, what a sorry situation. Clearly I had no faith in the police. As I said, I did not search the lady's handbag after the shooting. Well, that's on you. You didn't even do your job. Simply because it was unnecessary. What do you mean? I ought to thank the student liar, really. I have a piece of evidence here that I completely forgot about. Oh, of course you did. This photographic print. This print is of a photograph that I thought would be prudent to take immediately after the shooting. As you can see, it clearly shows Miss Brett's handbag. Well, I never. You can see right through to what's inside. That's right. Apparently, meshwork bags like these are the height of fashion in London at the moment. So the contents are clearly visible. Exactly. So there was no need to search the lady's handbag. If there had been a gun inside, it would have been immediately obvious. As you can see, there's nothing to imply Miss Brett's guilt here. Thank you for helping to prove that, Naruhodo-san. What? I'm satisfied that there's no longer any room to adopt this matter. I must make my ruling. Sorry, can't read today. Indeed, and there's only one logical conclusion: that the pathetic rookie slumped the this bench before us is the only possible perpetrator of this crime. No, just when I thought I was beginning to turn things around, I'm in a worse situation than I was at the start. Kazuma? I'm sorry, Ryunosuke. Now that the cross-examination witness is over, there is no way to force the trial to continue. What? You mean this is it? Am I really going to be found guilty of a crime that he didn't commit? And Kazuma, his dream of going to study grip and it was slipped through his fingers. Kazuma, what? Is there really no chance now of turning this trial around? You heard the judge. There's nothing about the last photograph the detective produced that we could contest, which means there's no basis on which you can argue for the trial to continue. What about the other photograph with the corpse? Why was the beefsteak behind him? The smug little...
Yes!
Wait, Your Excellency! Sorry, I'm gonna save. Ryunosuke? I don't think you can rule on this case yet.
Objection!
This amateurish is getting tedious. When His Excellency says the trial is over, he gives his ruling. That's the most basic protocol of the courtroom.
Yes!
Your Excellency, just a moment ago you said this. As the photographic print just submitted appears to have no further significance, there is no longer any room for doubt in the matter. I must make my ruling. Now, that means that there's a problem with the evidence. That's some significant detail, I mean. Then ruling on the case at this time would be out of the question.
Objection!
This blatant star clutching. Look at this photographic print. All it shows is the handbag.
What's that on the corpse's hand? If only I could put my finger on it. Very well. I'll grant the defense one final opportunity. What? But be warned that if I am unsatisfied by your response here, the trial will be over with immediate effect. Do I make myself clear? Yes, Your Excellency. So, take another look at the photographic print Inspector Hosonaga submitted before. You identify for the court, where in this print we see the significant detail to which you alluded. Oh boy. You know, I am gonna present this. This is very sus to me. So, yeah. Let's go with this, I guess.
Yes!
Look at this here. There's a very unusual mark on the victim's wrist. That is true. It looks almost like a burn of some description.
Objection!
Dear me.
Yes, that's the burn mark, you're right. Go on, Inspector. The police coroner also noticed it when he was performing the post-mortem examination. It was undeemed unrelated to the cause of death, so he didn't know his report. Excuse me, Your Excellency. It will see Miss Brett as a lunch point with the dean and other university staff. She would like to know if she may be excused from the stand now. It's not over yet. But if I don't keep pushing, then it's all over. So I was thinking I should keep digging and digging in the hope that I might uncover something useful. Yes, you're right. I am? If we can link that burn to the case, if we can do that, we might be able to pry this shutting door back open again.
Just give up, Castle. You can't possibly hope to do that.
Indeed, I'm afraid that without evidence, I can't allow you to pursue what is little more than conjecture. But if we had evidence that irrefutably linked the burn on the victim's wrist to the case, then would you allow it? I would, yes. To tell the truth, I hadn't noticed that burn, but as soon as you pointed out what I did notice was the color draining from Miss Brett's face. Really? I have to find some link between the burn and the case. This is the moment of truth. It's time to find some evidence that proves what that burn really means. So then, the defense now present its evidence to the court. I'm gonna save again. The evidence that demonstrates an inspiritual connection between the victim's burn and this trial. The bullet did not pass through the victim's body. He was shot from the chest and presumably died. Isn't that ball mark from the steak plate? Oh my god. It is, isn't it? Oh my god. I think it's related to the steak case. Let me examine. Okay. Yeah, it's like exactly the same. Okay, let's present this.
Yes!
Yet another print? Yes, Your Excellency. I believe photographic prints are an amazing invention. When we humans look at the scene, we miss things. But in a photograph, things we may have overlooked at the time are recorded forevermore.
Do hurry up, Brookie. What are you trying to say?
To inconvenience this poor lady. Blah, blah, blah. Actually, we may need you to stay with us a little longer if you don't mind, Miss Brett. You see, it's very clearly visible in this other photograph. How did the victim come to have that unusually shaped burn on his wrist? The reason is recorded here forevermore. What? How?
Objection!
You can't fool me, you little boss boy. If that's a game, let's see how it plays out. Show the card exactly what you mean. What is this photograph that explains the reason for the victim's burn?
This thingy.
Yes!
The beefsteak? Actually, the point is the metal plate the steak was served on. The plate? Your Excellency, are right. As you can see, there's an emblem on the plate. I would guess it's some sort of trademark of La Carnival. This emblem on the plate. And the victim's burn are exactly the same shape. Ah! Rinosuke, you genius! You're spot on. Which means the victim must have suffered this burn while he was present at this restaurant.
Objection!
But even if that's the case, we can't even know what happened in the day in question or not. It could have been the day before, the day before. You're just spouting nonsense. Well,
Objection!
Sadly, Prosecutor Ouchie, the chances are extremely slim. Thanks. Why? The outline of the burn is clearly discernible. Such a serious injury, would it cause quite a commotion, wouldn't you agree, Inspector Hosonaga? I can't imagine having missed such a terrible disaster, certainly. But, you know, a burn like that would be freaking painful. He'll be screaming. So if y'all didn't notice that, you know, y'all are lying. I'll say looking at a picture of the wound that it wasn't suffered very long ago, and although it's not a particularly large burn, it's extremely well defined as his defense just pointed out. This is no mild burn, that's for sure. Can you be more specific, Inspector? Well, let's see. If the plate was at around 90 degrees centigrade, a burn like that would have taken around 3 seconds. It's inconceivable that the victim wouldn't have let out a scream of pain then. I've been investigating the restaurant for several weeks lately, but I've not heard anyone scream at all. What if she burned the plate on the guy's corpse when he wasn't alive, so he wouldn't have been able to scream?
Yes!
There you have it. Something isn't right here. As the detective said, anyone who burned themselves in a peeping hot plate for 3 whole seconds will scream in pain. There's no question of that. And yet, Inspector Hosonaga never heard the professor scream, not on that day or any before it. That's right, and the strange thing is, on the day he was shot, I didn't hear him cry either. What are you suggesting? Well, if the professor carelessly laid his wrist on the plate for anything like 3 seconds that day, that would be beyond careless, I think, Counsel. Then the rest of us in this restaurant, myself, the sergeant, and the old antique dealer, all of us would without a question have heard him scream. Wouldn't you agree, Prosecutor Aochi? Well, yes, I suppose. So the question is, Why didn't a single person hear Dr. Wilson scream? Because it was on the corpse! I almost don't believe we're gonna Suk, do you think? Can it really be true? I never dreamt we'd arrive at a Koshu like this, but I'm starting to think that maybe we've been led into a terrible trap. There's only one explanation I can think of to make sense of this apparent impossibility. On the day in question, when he suffered the burn to his wrist, Dr. Wilson was already deceased. A dead body wouldn't be able to feel the pain. Are you suggesting? Yes, it's only possible if the man was already dead. Already dead? Knowing what we now know is the only possible explanation. When the beefsteak was brought to Dr. Wilson's table that day, the professor was already dead. That's it, that's madness! Order, please! Council, explain this absurd notion at once! The victim was killed by a gunshot! That's right, that's absolutely right, Your Excellency. This is not a ridiculous boy, but a rookie student.
Objection!
No, Professor Ouchi, it was you as no grasp at the facts. I beg your pardon? As soon as it became apparent that the victim had suffered with that burn while at the restaurant, this whole case was turned upside down, or have you not grasped that yet? Your Excellency, the court must hear from this witness again. If it's true, as you now believe that the victim was already dead before the gunshot was heard, it's highly unlikely that Miss Brett knows something about it. Incredible. I certainly didn't anticipate this twist of events. I'm sorry to say, Miss Brett, that you had to forget your luncheon engagement.
But Your Excellency!
The justice system in our country may be in its infancy, but rest assured, all reasonable doubt must be dispelled before I am prepared to pass judgment. Thank you, Excellency. What was that smile? Yes, of course. I mean, I'd be delighted to help, especially if it helps relations between my country and yours. Miss Brett, you speak Japanese? You know, that's a secret weapon of bilingual people. They just pretend they don't understand a language, but then they actually do. That's just a secret language of us bilinguals. Well, of course I do. I'm studying in your country after all. But then, why have you been speaking through an interpreter till now? My mother tongue, the Queen's English, is the most refined and elegant language in the world, okay? As a gentlewoman, I try to avoid speaking your vulgar tones as much as possible. Well, that's just rude. But it seems the man in this land possesses none of the chivalrous virtues of English gentlemen. So, I can see that I shall have to lower myself to communicating with you all on your own level. Wow. Rude. I see. In that case, Miss Brett, I will now ask you to testify in your own words about the events leading up to the death of the victim, Dr. Wilson. So we're finally going to hear our own words on the matter. Things are getting interesting in the soup. Unfortunately, I had no idea when the poor man burned his wrist like that. When the waiter brought my steak, the person and I raised our glasses and toast. As far as I heard, the post-mortem report showed no other possible cause of death besides the gunshot. If there's some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving a trace, please do show me. But of course, this country's very investigative and techniques probably wouldn't pick up on it anyway. Wow. Easy does it. I hope that was the last time I had to sully my lips with the coarse tones that were unbecoming tongue. Oh, forgive me. I do hope I haven't insulted anyone. You already insulted everyone here. I'll be speaking to your country's Minister of Justice about what has happened here today. The Minister of Justice? May that irritating little bully of a student be given the harshest punishment possible. Amen. Huh? Thanks? Was that a prayer then? Well, you have to forget the irritation, Miss Brett, and put up with the cross-examination now. I expect that you noticed that this little bully of a student, as you put it, doesn't miss much. Alright guys, I think this is where I have to end part 2 of The Greatest Ace Attorney. My voice is giving out here. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Next time we're gonna continue cross-examining this very rude lady. Bye bye.